chose you instead. Yeah. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot, it's the rock. Girl, you left my stomach in a knot. Took my lighter and you burned the bridge. Thought you was a writer. No, you're just an idol. You got me feeling like Big Sean in this 5, 4, 3, 2. I deserve a minute. Wait a minute. Gotta get up and over. Regain my composure. No longer my lover. Finally finished and you did it. Girl, you really showed me. Think with your heart, don't think with your body. Clever. Sorry, not sorry, sorry, not Justin Timberlake, write me a river. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You try to convince me.
And global greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. Greetings, Oli, Diomeda, the entire Eastern Caribbean, and wherever you may be locked in via YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch TV. It's good morning, good night, good evening. Some one of those greetings may be applicable to you depending on where you are geographical this time. It's a pleasure to be here with my co-host Shabazz Bankie King, and with our special guest this evening, Rusty Liburd, and we will be engaged in a very interesting discussion as we learn more about him and his plans for St. Kitts and Nevis as we move forward. After 42 years of independence, we're gonna get into a little bit of some of what he thinks and plans for the future. So, Bankie, greetings.
And
Your mic is
Yahsonn,
muted.
good evening to you, Yahsonn, and also good evening to our guest, Rusty Liburd. Greatly appreciate him choosing Real Entertainment Network and the topics so we can have some reasoning this evening. Also, good evening to the folks tuning in throughout the whole of St. Kitts and Nevis and the whole Eastern Caribbean. Greatly appreciate you choosing Real Entertainment and this Tuesday evening where you could be doing any other thing, but you choose to listen Real Entertainment Network and the topic. So it shows that you have an interest in what we're doing, and you mean that you take us very credible when it comes to relaying the information to you guys and keeping you guys what's going on in tune in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and also what's going on regionally or internationally. So definitely, Yahsonn, looking forward for the reason this evening. So back to you, Yahsonn. Your mic, Yahsonn. Your mic.
Sorry about that, people. So, good evening once more again. And we have with us this evening as our special guest, Rusty Liburd. Rusty Liburd is a political activist and former chairman of the People's Action Movement and St. Kitts. He has recently broken ranks with PAM and has declared his independent candidacy for the Central Basti constituency in the upcoming
Look like it goes
2027.
right now, Yahsonn. You realize he paused, you realize, right? He paused, he having some issue, he paused, no?
Probably having some issues with his computer. So
Okay.
I guess he probably would have to get that sorted out. But
Right. Go ahead.
I guess in the meantime, as he sort that out, I'll just give a little bit of introduction as to who he is, and then by the time he gets back, if he doesn't get back in by then, probably we could touch base on something else and give him some time to get back with us. But like I was saying, Rusty Liburd is a political activist and former chairman of the People's Action Movement, PAM, in St. Kitts and Nevis. He has recently broken ranks with PAM and has declared his independent candidacy for the Central Bass State constituency in the upcoming 2027 general elections or earlier. Liburd has been critical of PAM's leadership, citing internal power struggles, elitism, and sidelining of grassroots members in favor of those from privileged backgrounds. He expressed disappointment over the party's handling of leadership positions, notably the removal of Azad Gums as chairman of the constituency number 4, and called for greater inclusivity and reform within PAM. Liburd has a strong educational background, including pursuing a PhD in business administration, and has been active in media and communication. His independent run is seen as a bold move that could disrupt political dynamics within the Central Basti and within the political region as a whole. I don't know how much of what I would have read in your introduction, Mr. Liburd, but I sort of had a little intro to give a little perspective on who we are going to be interviewing or having a discussion with this evening, and so I just did a bit of that. Like I said, I know you would have been having a little bit of trouble with your internet seemingly for a few minutes there. So I don't know how much of what I would have read that you would have gotten, and if there is anything that you wanted to add or adjust in my introduction to you. But what we're going to do, we're going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and speak to probably some of the things that were highlighted, and I'll just give a little background on who is Rusty Liburd, and then I would get into asking some more specific questions. So, good evening, welcome to the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network, and we're looking forward to an engaging discussion. So, just give us, in your opening remarks, a little bit about who is Rusty Liburd.
All right, I'll take it from here. Who's Rusty Liburd? Rusty Liburd is a poor black boy from Market Street, Central Market Street. That's basically it. I really don't want to get into too much of who I am because I'll be blowing my own trumpet. Yes, I have a lot of education. People know that. I have master's degree, I have undergrad degree, I have diploma. I'm now studying my PhD here in Taiwan. It's a beautiful morning looking outside, a very beautiful morning here in Taiwan. And I'm very happy. I must add this. I'm very happy and grateful to Bankie for calling me and getting me on the show. Nobody has ever called me since I've announced my intention to run in I think it was April or May. Somewhere around that time is when I introduced myself. Because this is a part I want to add. I was a strong PAM supporter. I was PAM chairman at one time for 1 year. I gave it up after 1 year. I was PAM chairman, and there are things I don't like about what my party is doing. It's not that I hate PAM. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I hate PAM. It is that I cannot stand some of the stuff that the party is doing. And I believe I can come in as an independent candidate if the people want me. That's the first thing, if they want me. Because, let me add this, I don't care if I get 0 votes, 1 vote, or 2 votes. It doesn't matter to me. I am comfortable. I can tell you I'm comfortable in my own heart. Whether I win or lose, I am giving the people of St. Kitts a chance to choose somebody who can do the work for them. I don't want... There's a thing I was listening last night, African guy. He was talking about if you want to get rich quick, get into politics. I'm not about that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. If you know me, I'm not that kind of person. right? So I don't worry about that. I just want to serve the people. There are a couple of things I'll talk about tonight in education, health, and sports, which will sound to most people like I'm only talking education, I'm only talking sports, I'm only talking health. And they won't see the things that surround all these activities. For example, just quickly, sports. I would say I'm going to bring new events of sports into the country, and they're gonna what you could think it have. Well, I would tell you that more about that when I'm on my campaign trail, right? For example, let's go biking. Biking. Now I have some friends who do bicycle from small, doing the bicycle stuff. Now, if we develop that sport in our country, you know what could happen if we have the bicycle races, different types of races in St. Kitts? The hotels will be filled. That's money to the people. There'll be people training. There'll be different things that happen. Clothes, selling them parts. A bicycle repair guy or guys or girls who want to fix bicycle. All that stuff will come into play. But I'm only going to say I'm going to increase sports. Bicycle, that's not really increased, but that's a sport that is not popular anymore. Boxing is not popular anymore. And I want to talk about one other sport. Swimming. There's a lady in Nevis. I don't know her personally, but I wrote about her several times on my Facebook page. Jennifer Harding Marling. I don't know if you guys know her. I think she's a lawyer, she's a pilot, and she swims and that kind of stuff. And she took the Olympic Association in St. Kitts to court in the last Olympics or the one before that, and trying to get on our swimming team. She's not, she's not a born Kittitian. Maybe she might be naturalized as a division or Kittitian, how else you would like to be called, right? And they refused to bring her in, literally refused to bring her in. Now, had she gone in, apart from whether she win or not, the view for St. Kitts, on the media, in international media, when she line up for whatever, St. Kitts Nevis lining up, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how much money you pay for ad in Olympics? Millions of dollars. But once you get a camera on you as a Kittitian person or St. Kitts or Nevis person, once you get that camera on you, you've just win the game in terms of the advertisement of that particular sport. So the more sports we're in, the better it is for us. And so those are some of the stuff that I'd like to get into. Health, I want to talk about health, and I want to talk about education. Health, let me explain health. I lived in St. Kitts for almost most of my life. But I'm hypertensive, was very hypertensive. No, I'm not even worried. Because the doctors here in Taiwan, they have put me on the drill. I've been through everything. And the thing I like about the Taiwanese hospital that I'm going to here is if something happened to me, I tell my neurologist, hey, I don't like how I feel, blah, blah. Immediately he sends me down to the testing room. They have a whole wider testing room. And once he sends me down, and I go back to his office. When I get back to his office, I say, Rusty, so-and-so. I say, how you getting tests already? We have to wait weeks at home to get a test from an MRI if you get a real MRI. An X-ray, you have to wait a couple of hours, if not, I don't know how long, but you have to wait some time to get these tests. Not here in Taiwan, not where I am in Taiwan. Anything you go into the office for, immediately, by the time you get back to the office, the doctor has it on his computer. And these are things I would like to talk about in terms of getting my health up to standard. Because I'm telling you, if I cannot get that kind of system at home, it makes no sense me coming back home. I'm going to die, literally die. I'm not kidding you. I'll die of hypertension. I came to Taiwan with 9 strokes. 9 strokes. I got 3 in Taiwan. 3 strokes in Taiwan. People don't know that. I had 3 strokes in Taiwan. And the third one was the last one. And it was the best one. My pressure went down to 90/60. Never heard of that in my life for me. And since then, my pressure has been very good. So those are just a few things I'd like to say about myself. Because I can talk and I can go on and on and on. But I'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yes, I think actually some of the things that you brought out in the introductory statement actually answer some of the questions I had. For example, what motivated your decision to leave PAM and run as an independent candidate for Central Basti? You would have kind of alluded to that already, in the sense of not really liking some of the issues that's going there, and then making the taking the decision actually to make that move. How has your academic and professional experience shaped your political views and approach?
I got into Young Palmites at the age of 12 when I was going to junior high school. Now it's called Washington Archibald High School. Before, I must tell you, I was a very shy guy. Didn't like to talk at all. Didn't like to talk. And by going to Young Palmites, I got into talking and debating with people, and I liked it a lot. And the key thing, I must mention some names here now. Richard Keynes, Billy Herbert, Dr. Kennedy Simmons, Ralph Gums. These are people who I admired through the political arena. And they spoke to me back and forth, different stuff. And most of them saw potential in me. And I decided to run in Antigua. In Antigua, I went to a CYC, Caribbean Youth Conference. Went to Antigua and the Caribbean Youth Conference. Won the vice presidency of that international, whole Caribbean, the whole national thing. I won the vice presidency over Austin Edinburgh. You probably might not know him, but Austin Edinburgh, literally fighting on the floor to win the seat. But he lost the seat, and I won over him. And since then, I came back and I was traveling throughout the whole Caribbean. I've traveled the whole English-speaking Caribbean as a youngster. I'm 58 now. This is back when I was 22, 23, 24, that kind of stuff. And so I had to deal with that. And those stuff, moving around the islands, triggered something in me. I actually came here to Taiwan in 1986. I came to Taiwan in 1986. And Taiwan now, when I look at Taiwan now, from 1986 and look at Taiwan now, I can't believe it's the same Taiwan I came to. Because it's completely changed. Completely changed. And I believe that can happen to us as well. I just want to add this point. The first show I listened to you guys was last week, I think. I listened. I don't know if it was a tape or was live. But last week I listened to a show you had on Azad Gums. And there's a guy who I'm not a fan of mine, Curtis Crook. But I must tell you, Curtis Crook, I've complimented about 2 or 3 times. Because the things he says make sense to me. His politics and me, we can't agree. But he made some sense. He was talking about and you guys agreed with him to some extent, about the Old Road Bay and the road in the Old Road Bay. I mean, the new road has damaged the view, the aesthetics of the area. And nobody thought about, oh my God, how could we have done this much better? No, the minister who was in charge, I build the road. But it kills the whole Old Road Exactly, it does. And people don't understand that. And those little things we don't pay attention to. And those kind of stuff is what killing our culture. And people don't see that. I mean, you might not want me around because I'm an old man, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But that's entirely up to you. You gotta find. There's a project I announced when I say I want to be a candidate. I want to build, you can laugh after me now, but I want to build a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis. So I went to study in 1980 something or whatever. I went to Florida to study, right? And I went to the mechanical engineering because I had the skills. And the first class was a math class, and it was 500 people in the class, roughly 500 people in the class. 90% of the people in the class were Indian. 10% might have been, not 10, just about 5% might have been Chinese. Then a few white people. I was the only black man in the math class. And when the man started writing the math section from one end of the board to the next, I couldn't understand one thing, not one thing. So I didn't come here to fail. So I called my, I think it was human resource officer back in government. Her name was Jackie Fleming. I don't know if you know. But I called Jackie Fleming and said, listen, I cannot handle this mechanical stuff, so I want to change to mass communication. And that's when I came into the mass communication field, and I was so happy since I've been there till now. So that's basically some of this stuff. But I want to go back to your point, Yahsonn, about why I leave PAM. When I finished studying my degree at Full Sail, I did film production as well. That's another degree I have. Doing making movies. I can make movies as well. So we talk about that another time. But when I came back home, I decided to run as an independent candidate for PAM. It was around the time they were looking for changing up the executive. And I tried to run, and the people in PAM, all, including the people that had represented my constituency, turned me down, literally turned me, blocked me. I got a lawyer to try and represent me, but because the lawyer, who's a labor lawyer, and he has friends in PAM in their cult, they have a cult. I don't know if you know saying it's a cult. I don't know if you have them in Nevis, but we have cults in St. Kitts. And men cult and whatever. You know, I'm not talking too much. I don't want to get in too much trouble. But they have this cult that wear black and white stuff, if you understand what I'm saying. And so he didn't want to go against his partner, and that's how I end up just giving up and moving on. That's basically it. But that's how. I hope we get the cult. Okay. I hope we get the cult joke.
Yes. And okay, so you kind of segued a bit into the next question I had as you spoke of Taiwan, because I was gonna ask you to share how your time abroad, including your studies in Taiwan, has influenced your perspective on politics back home.
Wow, that's tremendous, because the way the campaign here is complete. Taiwan has 23 million people. I could tell you, I went to exhibition Sunday, and I've walked through the exhibition. I saw St. Kitts Nevis population in one place at one time. I'm not a big crowd people. I'm nervous around crowds, right? So it was entertaining per se, but it was scary for me to be all these people and trying to find my way around. It's huge, a huge building. So the things they do here in Taiwan, I like a lot. I can tell you this. I was scared as hell. This computer I'm talking to you from, it's an Apple computer, and I had it on the desk, and we're going for lunch. And the students were saying, "Where's the leave your computer? You don't need to pack it up. Leave it." I said, "No, someone didn't see my computer." They said, "No, they don't steal it in Taiwan." If you don't believe that, then I don't know what else you'll believe. I left my computer on the desk, up, open just like that. Went to have lunch for an hour and 30 minutes. Came back and my computer was still there. That's amazing. I now walk around my block for exercise. I do a lot of exercising. I walk around my block for exercise. I lost my keys. My keys had my supermarket card on it and other cards on it. I said, "Oh my God, how am I going to get into?" I couldn't get into my apartment. So my landlord took me to a key place to get a key there, and I did. Next day, the very next day, the morning, my supermarket called me and said, "Mr. Liburd, come down. I live above my supermarket. I'm on the 25th floor above the supermarket. It's a huge building I live in, right? And so they said, "Come downstairs. We have something for you." When I got downstairs, my keys. Somebody found the keys on the walk, and they brought it right to the supermarket. And they did not live in the area, but it had the supermarket card on it, and that's all I got to. Oh. So in stealing, there are crimes here, but they're not. You see how we complain about our crimes? They're nothing like that here. Those things I believe can happen in St. Kitts. We can reduce our crimes and problems, criminal problems, down to almost zero. We can do it. Those are the ideas I got. The way they build buildings, the way they do look at the architecture, those stuff we need to talk about. You guys probably know this. There is a volcano down by Grenada called Kikamjeni. I don't know if you've heard about that. Kikamjeni is an underwater volcano. Correct. It's an underwater volcano. If the key word is if Kikamjeni were to explode and it caused a tidal wave come all the way up to St. Kitts, you know how St. Kitts and Nevis. You know how we live in St. Kitts and Nevis. Both St. Kitts and Nevis. We live around the mountains. The mountains are in the middle, and we live around. If that were to cause a tidal wave, everybody around will be dead instantly, because we don't have any height. We have no height to run to. Unless if you get to from the Bay Road to Monkey Hill, or from Gingerland to the hill, you're lucky. But no, none of that. So why don't we prepare for something like that, even if it doesn't come? And let me explain that. Because we must have fire trucks at the airports, correct? No plane is going to touch down in St. Kitts or Nevis unless there are fire trucks at the airport. But I've never heard of those trucks fighting any fire in my island. I don't know about Nevis. But I've never heard of the fire trucks in St. Kitts in my 58 years. I've never heard them fighting a fire. Some plane crashed or some plane and they had to fight a fire. So they're there for protection of the laws that govern airport running. Why can't we do the same thing? I'm not expecting a tidal wave. I don't want to have a tidal wave to come and damage our people. But just in case, we never know. We never know what will happen. Just
well, we build it for hurricane purpose. We build it for hurricane purposes and stuff like that. When it comes to enforcement, so it's basically the same thing you're talking about.
Exactly.
And it makes sense, of course.
So, Rusty, you have been openly critical of PAM's leadership and internal dynamics. What specific reforms do you believe are necessary for the party to regain the trust of its grassroots supporters?
That's a tough question, and I really don't want to answer it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a very honest guy. I really don't want to answer it because I don't want to be advising Pam in public, right? But I'll tell you, Pam, I said one thing, and I've sent a clip, I think, to you guys about the people will rise. And when I'm talking about the people, I'm talking about Narissa from Market Street. I'm talking about Sharon from the village. I'm talking about Sonia from Newtown. I'm talking about the people. You would hear me call names of the people, but you hear them talk about the people, and then they don't know the people. They don't know the people. They're afraid. It appears to me that they're afraid to meet the people. I was never afraid. Let me explain this. There's a gentleman. I'm not gonna call his name. I'll give his location. There's a gentleman, a big Pam, very big Pam from Morning. He's probably in his 80s, 90s, somewhere around that age. And when I was running for Pam, trying to run to be Pam candidate in Central Bastia, I tried already, Central Bastia. I went to his house because him and my aunt, she's passed now, and were friends. So I went to him, knock on his door. He told me come in. I said, I'm Rusty Liburd. I'm trying to run for the candidate of the People's Action Movement in Central Bastia. He said, stop. You're the first person ever to come to my house to ask me for a vote. I know he's a Pam. But I was the first person to go to his house and ask him for a vote. I'm very emotional. I'm a really emotional guy. I cry a lot. I literally cry a lot. You might not see it this way. But I cry because when I can't express myself, I don't cry because I want to cry, because I can't express myself a certain way. So I'm not ashamed of the way I react, right? So I cry for certain. When I left the man's house, tears were just dropping on my eyes because he has been voting from 1960 something, whenever the election was going on in the country. He's voting, and a Pam man like him was never approached by a Pam candidate. These are the kind of people. That's the Pam we're living in today. That's why Labour will always beat Pam. They will always have more connection with the Labour supporters than the Pam supporters. And Pam supporters will always leave Pam and run to Labour. You hardly find Labour supporters leaving Labour and coming to Pam. You hardly find that. Maybe one or two, but not that much. Pam will go in droves to Labour. Look at what's going on right now. The Pam supporters are now running to Timothy. Guys, if I give you all a story about Timothy, you all won't believe. I knew of Timothy. I know how bad the guy is. When I told Pam, I was chairman at the time, 2013, I think I was. I warned them not to go into connection with Pam, with Timothy, the way they're going to do it. They say, oh no, Rusty, we're going to win. This is it. People think winning is just crossing the line. But if you guys play sports, I play table tennis, I play lawn tennis, I play badminton, a lot of sports. For me to win a match, it takes me years or months of training, hard training, working on backhand, working on forehand, whatever it is I'm doing, right? You have to get down in the grass to do what you're doing. Pam don't do that. Pam has started. Lord, you're making me talk about Pam too much. You know. Pam has started a pop-up meeting for about 2 years now, 2-3 years now. I don't know how long ago. It must be about 3 years. Yeah, they started a pop-up meeting. And if it started a pop-up meeting with 10 members in the crowd, they have 12 now, which means they're not doing the work. Because if you're having a pop-up meeting, yes, it's pop-up meeting, so you do it where you are. But you have to plan. You have 8 candidates. 8 candidates. Well, they should have 8 candidates. I don't know what's that. You want to tell me 8 candidates can't get 10 people from the constituency to come to a pop-up meeting? Come on. If you can't find 8 people, then why are you in politics? You need to get out. If you can't find people to bring to the Labour bus people into the meetings. My old aunt, she died now, long gone. She died early 80s. She used to take us to labor match. Run away, Billy Herbert, run away. Run, boy, run, you dirty son of a gun. All that kind of stuff. We jamming in the street from Greenlands going down to Mass's house. Matching. Now, I didn't know much about politics at the same time. I kind of about 5, 6, that kind of stuff. But we used to be in the match with labor stuff. My mother insisted that I go to the labor Mass's house to learn maths and English. Dame Marcella Liburd, my cousin, she's my cousin, was a teacher. She was teaching English. Gums was teaching maths. And my mother make us go over there. Big Pam she was. Make us go over there. So I know Pam people, I know Labour people. I'm interactive with both. And I can tell you, majority of my friends today are Labour supporters.
Nice. How do you respond to critics who say that your move to run independently challenges the traditional party system in St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, the reason that coming back to the same point that I made about Crook and Curtis Crook and Azad, did you realize how he answered the question? He answered by saying, "Oh, we went for the purpose rather than the aesthetics, something to that effect." I can't quote him directly, but saying we had to get the road done, and this was the best way to do it. All the damages, the aesthetics. We should have thought more about that. Let me tell you why he couldn't say, "I would have been grateful if they had taken the aesthetics." He does not want to offend his party. And that's the problem. None of them. If you look at the guy who's running in my constituency, he had an interview and he's like, "Oh, the party will do this, the party will." They can never speak for themselves. And if I'm in a party and I can't say what I want to say, why am I in this party? You're not controlling my ideas. I must have ideas of my own. That's why you get into a party. That's why when I went to PAM, I could have gone to Labour. Most of my friends were going to Labour, young Labour. But I went to PAM because that's what I heard in my house, and I went to find out what was going on, and I liked it. So I stayed, right? So, and then when I pull away from PAM, all my Labour friends say, "Oh, you're Labour now?" I said, no, you're going too fast. I'd move away from PAM, but I'm not going to Labour because of the stuff that I did as a public relations officer, another course that I have education in. As a public relations officer, I was not going to PAM, to Labour. I have had so many conversations and tit for tat with Denzel Douglas when I came back from studying the first time. I don't know if y'all remember when Douglas had to extradite the guy Lil Nut. I think it's Lil Nut. His name was yeah.
Yes.
I said right. I was at interviewing him and I only asked him one simple question. Why did you give up your friend, your best friend? And oh my God, that went on the Douglas skin like ants. And he started to cuss me and cuss, "Oh, your brother this, your brother that." And none of that was true. None of what Nut he said was true. But that's the problem I have with the political parties. They have to say what their boss is. Now, some political parties don't have bosses, but some do. I could tell you Timothy owns PLP, so whatever Timothy say, you have to say. You can't disagree with him. In PAM, you have to find out from your boss if this is okay to say or not say. When the last year at chairman as PAM, they had a tie. It was between Eugene Hamilton, constituency 8, and a tie between Sean Richards in constituency 5. I had to break the tie. They didn't want me to break the tie. If you heard the conversation before, "Oh, we don't want Rusty to break the tie, blah, 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 we're going to do this," and all kind of nonsense they came with, right? And so it came down to a tie because God wanted it to be a tie. God wanted it to be a tie. And so I went in there and they asked to break the tie, and I broke the tie and I gave the leadership to Sean. Why? Because I'm a young man and I figure let's go with the young guy. And I knew more of Hamilton than most people would know. I don't think he was ready or able to do what he needed to do at that point in time. And I was proven correctly because when it came down to Sean and Timothy and Mark Brantley cussing against Timothy, the first thing that happened, they were waiting on Hamilton to make a decision. What did Hamilton do? He stick with Timothy. That's the kind of mentality Hamilton has. If you really examine him as a politician, he's not really a politician per se. He can do the work. He can do the work, but he's not aggressive. Want to be in front, up front. No, he's not the kind of person. He stay away from the confusion, stay in the back line. For me, my opinion, because I don't want to come in jail, when we have executive meetings and a decision to be made, he'll be the last person to vote. Why? He sees 10 over here and 12 over here, he going 12. He sees 8 over here and 6 over here, he going you understand what I'm saying? That's how I saw him voting in Pam. He's never gone against the crowd. Go ahead.
Okay. How do you plan to campaign independently, and what message are you emphasizing to voters in Central Basti?
Well, I'm telling Central Basti people one thing. They will rise. Now, people see me saying they will rise and think that Rusty mean, what does Rusty mean, the people will rise? What it means is that the people must get up off of their ignorant thinking. I'm going to say, I'm a plain speaker, off the ignorant thinking. So if I'm a Labour supporter, and I always vote Labour because Labour is, as a matter of fact, we see politics in St. Kitts as a football game or a basketball game. So when Labour win, yeah, Labour win. And then 5 years later, you're still in punishment. You ain't move from where you want to move from. The same thing, Pam win. And you still ain't get a house or you still ain't get what you want. That is not me. I am telling you plain out, if you vote for me and I'm on the winning side, let me make that clear. If you vote for me and I'm the first independent candidate, I don't know if they had, you guys can help me with this one. I don't know if they had any more candidates, independent candidates that ever run back then that won this seat. I'm thinking about DeGrasse and I'm thinking about some others, but I can't remember if they run independently. But I can tell you, PLP run independently and they got the seat. They got the one seat. In 2015, when Timothy won, Sam Connor didn't win his seat in 3, Timothy won. So that was an independent candidate in my mind. Anyway, they voted for him and he got through in 7. But I am hoping that the people would stop thinking Pam and Labour as the best teams to put them through. We've done it for years. I lived in Jamaica for 3 years. And while I was there was an election. And the people say me, you know who's gonna win? JLP gonna win this time. Because you had, at the time Manley was around, and you had Manley and Siaga going back and forth 2 years, 2 terms or 1 term or whatever it was, right? Because they're still trying to choose who was the best for them. In St. Kitts, you don't do that. You'll hear Douglas boast, I had 21 years in government, and you hear Simmons boast, I had 15 years in government, and so on. Ridiculous. Why do you need a candidate, especially a one man, for 15 years? That's specifically a generation, in a sense, a political generation, not the 30-year general generation. But if I win and I run, I'm only serving 8 years. Only 8 years I'm serving. I don't want no more than that, because I can do everything I want in the 8 years. All that, I'm actually working on my manifesto right now. I have everything I want for 8 years.
Hold a second. Right now we have five-year terms. So if you 8 years, you're talking about 1 term and 3 years. You're thinking the American 4 years thing.
No. Hold on. No, we have 5 terms. I know it's 5 terms we have. I fully well know it's 5 terms. I only want 8. So you could do it my way or your way. The way I was thinking about having it done is 4 years, calling out the election 4 years. That's what I was thinking. But remember, I'm only one man. I'm only one man. So the others might think, no, we have 2 more years to go. You got more time to go. Why call it now? So if they want to go 5 years, I have no problem. Go 5 years, I'll do 3 in the next one. Right? So I have the options. What I do. But whatever it is, I'm only gonna run for 8 years. And I am 58. I want to come home. I want to go home and plant my garden. I love my garden. So I have a little garden right here with some trees, rosemary trees, and so great. I love gardening. I love playing sports. I want to do other stuff. Because what I want is to build a St. Kitts that I can live in. So if I've done the job, I've put in the best hospital, I've put in the best this, the best that, what have it changed education. People now thinking for themselves, analyzing stuff for themselves. I'm cool. Let me go home to enjoy the St. Kitts that I just done build. It's like building a house. When you're done building your house, you go in your house to live, correct? You ain't building no more. You go in your house, enjoy your house. You go on the veranda and say, well, the breeze is moving on the right direction. That's basically my intention. I have a friend in the village. I can't call his name. I have a friend in the village. He keeps warning me, Rusty, do not go into politics. He's a Labour guy. Do not go into politics. And, you know, last night I listened to a tape. I'm going to get a little personal now. A tape with a guy called in Mr. Francis. And the guy who called him was the AG. And the kind of words I hear coming out of that young man's mouth, the AG mouth, the F and the F and the F and the F and this and that, and don't call me wife name and blah, blah, blah. I was shocked.
Yeah,
I was
but
like,
no. I don't think you're shocked because these are normal language that is spoken every day by politicians, teachers, churchgoers. So, because it's out in the public, we accept it like, oh, yes. But these are normal conversation, and how these people speak. We are just being tricked and think because the way Suits, they don't speak like that. But this is how all of them speak. So I don't want you to come and say that you're shocked. I'm in a shock. So don't come with that one then. You're not shocked. It's just in the public.
Okay, cool.
So a lot of people are just embarrassed of our leaders in those positions. So go ahead. Then I want to touch education. What are your plans for education and stuff like that? Because I know you've been talking too much about Pam. And I want to talk too much about Pam. Because as I'm going to come back on you with that.
It's okay. Azar and me are very good friends. We're very, very good friends. We're very, very good friends. But the shockness was not that they don't do it. The shockness that he was actually talking to a candidate, a voter of the country, and speaking that way to him. That's where I went with that comment. I can't hear you, Bankie. You must mute him.
So
No, I'm saying he's talking to his neighbor. He's talking to his neighbor, so he's just expressing himself. Yes, and that's just normal conversation, how they speak every day. And that's the thing about what we want young people to realize, don't let lawyers and doctors and all these people fool you because of wear suit and they're playing distinguish. That's why you don't hear me call nobody honorably, go to call nobody honorably, because a lot of them don't deserve that title. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
We've been I'm too old people bamboozle me and think I gotta follow the code. If 99 people at an event and the national anthem playing, I ain't standing up because the words in there they ain't true to the words. You see what I mean? So I don't deal with people around me. And I teach my children the same way. If you have to sit, sit. Don't let anybody tell you to stand up if you don't have to stand up, because you don't must stand up, because they can't lock you up for that. It's your true rights, because these words that they're singing is not genuine. Because if they was genuine, it would have been country above self. It's self above country. Most of these people looking out for themselves. So why have that national anthem, you understand? And the words is not genuine. Even the gentleman who put the words that is their country above self and they've been honored is still fighting to get recognition for these things. So what the AG is doing, them minor thing, we don't entertain them thing. That normal thing most of these politicians want to talk, and they call the females them B and W and all kind of stuff. That's how they speak. I hear them speak like that every day. But when they come out to the public, people like, what? Come on. Them man more filthy from day one.
Well, Bankie, I actually was going to segue into your segment, so to speak. When I say your segment, because I was going to give you an opportunity to ask him some questions, but I was going to do it in this way. The next question I have coming up, what I'm going to do is I am going to present the question to both of you and seek to get a response from both of you, because I don't know if you are aware, Rusty, but also Bankie is presenting himself as an independent candidate for the next upcoming election as well as Nevis. And so the question that I had in relation to independent candidacy and so on, what role do you see for independent candidates in shaping the future of politics and St. Kitts and Nevis? That's the question, and I want to direct that question to both you and Bankie, seeing that both of you are going to be independent candidates, are running to be independent candidates. And then Bankie, from there, I guess after your response, you could then segue into the questions that you probably would have had for Rusty in terms of continuing and whether it's education and the other areas or aspects that you would want to touch on. So again, the question is, what role do you see for independent candidates in shaping the future of politics in St. Kitts and Nevis? based on the backdrop that Rusty was saying that we are accustomed to this two-party state, NRPCC and PAM Labour, kind of thing. What role you see for people like who's running as an independent candidate? And Bankie, your response as well. You can start off, Rusty, and give your
All right, cool. Since I started my campaign stuff, right? Announced that I'm going to be running as an independent campaign. I noticed names start coming out of the woodworks. Everybody started to say, I'm going to run independent. Now that says something to me. It says to me that the people are fed up with the party politics stuff. So that gives me an impetus into the thinking of some of the people. Now, things people mind are very easy to change. So we have to keep pushing our stuff out there. And I believe by saying your stuff would make it easier for people to look at us. Once they're looking at us, it gives them an opportunity to say, hey, well, let me try Rusty, let me try Bankie, let me try Winston, whatever it is, right? I don't know other names who are in the ring. But I must tell you, Bankie, this is specific to you. When I saw the clip of you at the hot spring area, when I saw the clip of you at the hot spring area, I was touched. I'm not on the ground in St. Kitts. I don't get my information firsthand. But when I saw Bankie doing this stuff, I was, oh my God, they're gonna damage that? Are you serious? Are you really serious? And the people seem to be against the SSZ. You call it Z, I call it Z. SSZ Act. They seem to be against it. And I think I read something recently that they might be pulling it back. They might not be going for. I don't know where it is, and I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have any information on that. But the point is, us as independent candidates have to realize a couple of things. We cannot form government. None of us can form government. We're independent. But what we have to do is to look at who we can mix with or collaborate with, to see who we can collaborate with. And in my saying is, I don't want to have X, Y, and Z. I'll work with anybody. Any party to form the government. But depending on who I'm forming the government with, it's going to be a little difficult for me because I'm not going to form a party with Timothy himself per se. Because I don't want to have a confusion running a government with nobody like that. Timothy is on the shelf for now. I don't know what will happen in election time, but he's on the shelf. I'm also certain, let me tell you this. I am preparing my campaign. And there's some stuff that I'm doing that I've never seen yet in St. Kitts. Never seen in St. Kitts campaign, right? And one of the things I want to do is I want Timothy to lose his seat. Because he's no good for the country. Not because I hate him. I don't really hate. The only person I hate in St. Kitts is Doya Asafan. Nobody else. Yes, to get back to 7, I would like the guy in 7, David Pell. I would like him to win the seat. For personal reasons. When Timothy won the seat in 7, he went over there and he uprooted Ben Phipps' agricultural land because he wanted to take it away from him. And that hurt me till today. Still hurt me till today. And if we can get rid of Timothy and his bad attitude and his bad habit, there's a lady who I knew very well. He took away her land from her. Didn't give, she had an acre or 2 acre or something like that. He took away everything that Sidney Morris or whoever gave him land. He took away that kind of stuff. That's the kind of person he is. There's another story. There's another guy who called in on Win FM, said, Mr. Harris, I'm trying to do so and so. And then the guy said, well, he said, you never vote for, somebody said, you never vote for me in this election on the PLP. I can't help you. He voted for him every time on the Labour, but he can't vote for him. He's still voting for Labour. Can't help you. So the point is, us as independent candidates have to really look into who we can get to win with us. And once we get them to win with us, we can work with them. That's the key thing. And then you must have workable ideas. I have a couple of ideas. I just spoke about health. Some of them about health. I talked to you about with making sure that. Well, let me go up a little bit on health. In terms of health, I will make sure that health becomes health tourism in St. Kitts. That's possible. And I won't go too much in terms of that, but we look at sports tourism. We can do that too. We can look at sports and health. Look at those two areas, and we blending it to some extent with tourism, the general tourism, the ships and the boat, and that kind of stuff. But we can also bring people here through sports and health. I'll give Bankie a chance to give his comment.
Well, one of my things is that I like to use the word native. This thing, citizen, I'm very careful with it because we seem to have over 50,000 citizens out there with passport, which I think have the right to vote and all the different stuff on these things. And I'm not one for that. I think the native should be distinguished differently with anyone who come, whether by marriage or whatever, should at least have an edge over anyone else, and we need to protect. So I'm just saying that every native have a right within St. Kitts Nevis to run and to take part, to run for office. That is my thing for say. You don't have to have no academics or anything like that. Just genuine love for you and serve for your people and do what is right. But I've realized as a youth growing up in the 80s and 90s, my environment when it comes to politics at an early age where is like once your family support a party, even if you're thinking for yourself, you have been cast in this group and say, oh, well, them did this and them did that. I'm not one of those kind of person, you understand? And I don't see people as NRP, CCM, PAM, Labour. I see my friends as my friends. Whether my friends vote for who they want or my wife vote for who they want, we don't argue over these things. You see what I mean? And if we can see others like that where husband and wife don't get along, our boyfriend, girlfriend, our family fall apart when election comes, that I don't have those kind of issues. But what I've realized, why I say, well, people nag me all the time, but you should get into politics. I know the dirty games around it, and I just can't. Certain things is just not in my genes, in my genetics. Where I'm a straight person, and no nonsense person, and me not have a life on a body. You see what I mean? And me gonna talk. If you do wrong, come in and help your teeth, you know. You understand? Come in and go through your teeth. Come in and need it. You see what I mean? So I'm saying all this to say, sometimes I look and figure, well, I don't think our people really need help sometimes. And it's sad to say it. Because they are so engraved in this party politics, where everything they see is politics. They just say blue, it's red, green, and we got to come. So it shows you're really, really, and if you reach to that point, you're in denial. You're just in denial because okay, it's like people speak to you in front of your face, they support a party, and then when they see you in a corner, they'll tell you the thing that the party doing that they can't support, but yet they can't tell the party executive or whoever they're supporting or the people that vote for about these things. Because the sheep, I should add an S, even though sheep is plural, somebody have to add an S because I need to add on the S. I don't want to add on the S. But the sheep and them seem to be acting like them is the shepherd. And this is what we can over how it's just like in the civil service where the directors and the PS them are the shepherd and they're letting the politician them take all the power and control them. Ain't supposed to work. So this is where I just say sometimes I don't enough tell myself get involved because we cannot sit and separate. It's just like you argue with somebody over religion, over Seventh-day Adventist or Jehovah's Witness, and not realizing at the end of the day, you can't prove nothing. You see what I mean? But you still have vexed me because, Virgin, if you have some kind of views about something, respect the other people and the views, and that's it. Everybody not going to sit in the same way. But when it comes to personal, what I'm seeing here going on right now within St. Kitts and Nevis is the Tutsi and the Hutsi in Rwanda in the 90s, where over 80,000 people, and I ain't seen nobody calling to separate it. You see, because right now I'm listening, I'm hearing some of them calling their own people Columbus. I hear another reached a point calling some of them biblical terms, and now you had to choose Barabbas, the team Barabbas, team Columbus, and all this different stuff. And I ain't hearing nobody calling out these things, and who saying these things are supporters of the ruling parties. You see what I mean? So when you reach to a point where you start to call your people Barabbas and the others Christ and all this different stuff, I'm just sitting back and waiting. This is just like a phone call where you're on the radio calling the other side cockroach, you know. How long will these leaders come out and start to realize we are going too far over a project because some are not supporting it, and because you're not supporting the project, you reach a point you start calling each other and divided. The people are too divided. And when it reaches to this point, we're not really looking down the long road because of some benefiting and stuff like that. To each his own, you know. I can sit home, me home chilling and relaxing. I could get to a doctor said, Yahsonn, I don't think these people need help. Because right now we don't start to war each other over a decision where we're going to be a development, and we are so divided we start to hate on each other. It is very wrong. So me telling myself as I want to do it, but the people got to show me that they really need my help. Me can't help if you don't want help in a virgin. That's how me see. You know what I mean? If you want help, you got to show me you want help. Can me go carry to the water, but you don't want to drink if you don't want to drink, you know. So if you want help, you got to show me you want help. And by showing me you want help, you got to speak up more. You got to do things that I see actually trying to help yourself in a sense. Like, but if you're not doing stuff like that, I don't think it make my sense to waste my time. Because time is something I'd like to waste because I can't gain it back. So I use my time as a youth from long time to this day very efficiently. So that is my point when it comes to that. So my thing is about, I know you speak passionate about healthcare. I would like to know some of your plans when it comes to the healthcare system. Because right now, where we at, we should have a proper tourism healthcare system when it comes to speaking at this point. We are 50 years behind, more or less, because the money we don't incur, especially under Douglas, under, you understand, Simmons and this team unity now under this government, we're still talking about smart hospital. You still can't find, like you can't find the funding, and just keep talking. This doesn't make no sense. So I would like to hear what are some of your plans. But before you touch that, let me take a call. I have a call coming in here. Let me hear what this caller have to say. Caller, good evening. Hello, caller. Yes, you got to turn on. Can you turn on your device, please?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, Brother Rusty and Yahsonn. This is the voice of Winston. Welcome. Well, I'm glad to see another independent on board. Yes, it is true we may have different ideas, but what we're trying to get out there, I personally don't know Bankie. I personally don't know, but just so that you are an independent, that means we are singing one song. We are singing one song, sorry. And one song is a trip because we are tired of the party politics and the misfits and too much of labor, too much of PLP. So now we need an independent party in the mix. And all of us have something of liking for the people who participate or voting or plan to vote in this election upcoming. So I must say, I am very well pleased, and we are waiting for more until the day comes when we all can sing one chorus moving forward for the better of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm pretty sure we will serve the people of the Federation better than ever. The uniqueness about this is we all have our own ideas, and we does not sit down and congregate, but guess what? We all sing. We are independent because we're tired of this old party politics, and we must get rid of that. And last call, the people who are on party line, you got to think about what is good for you from your heart and get off the party line business and get into yourself and put your heart, your trust for the future. The future is yours, the government is yours, and we will represent you to the best of our ability. Thank you for hearing me. I will come in again. I leave it for somebody else.
I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for your call, caller. Okay, yeah. Yahsonn, Rusty, you're saying something?
You asked about health, so I want to talk a little bit about health.
Yes.
I'll give you a story. My mom died in 1979. I was 12 at the time when my mom died. But before she died, she was going to the hospital, the Jane France Hospital, couple of times, many times. And as a child, I could not go to the hospital to see my mom. And that brought tears to my eyes. And I can't believe today, 2025, that kids are not allowed in the hospital to see their father, their mother, whoever it is they would need to see, because of some policy the hospital has that you're too young, you can't go in this wall and that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I was
Really?
before I came to. I don't know if it's still going on. But I could tell you.
Well, not
I
in
left
Nevis.
there
I don't think that happened in Nevis.
but it happened in St. Kitts when my mom was around, and that was the 70s. My mom died 79, so up to 79, it was still going on, right? But when I was in the hospital, my kids couldn't come and see me. And last time I had a stroke in the hospital, I think was 2020 or 2019. Somewhere around the last time I had a stroke and I was in the hospital, and my kids couldn't come and see me. And these were much
Really?
older than I was. I'm telling you. I don't know if it's still going on. Somebody who listen outside there
But
can
that's
correct me
recently.
if I'm wrong.
But that's
No.
recently.
It's
In the
going.
20s, that's recently.
Yeah.
Hold up.
So,
Okay. Hold the point. They can
go
have
ahead.
a call coming in again. Carlo, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you doing?
Good evening to the panel. Good evening to Rusty and your device there. I happen to listen
Yeah.
tuning at the same time, listening to Rusty speaking. And I have to say, I'm happy that somebody understand and analyze what I've been talking about past all of them. Rusty said some things to tonight, that when you support a party, the people in the party believe that you're not supposed to speak about the foolishness about your party. These are the kind of foolishness that I am not going to tolerate. And he's so right. He had me Pam, he had me Labour, and he had me Timothy. If I in the party and support you and choices shopping what's I'm supposed to say? I'm making the point as I'm trying to justify about oral openness. How can you destroy something like oral repair? A beautiful view. The best thing we have man cross there, made the engineer. Newton Bay is the perfect example of how oral repair could have even set up and better. Because you had enough space to put all the big stone out. You could have got a nice walkaway. You could have got benches. You could have got palm trees. But they sit down and allow that to happen. Because as he said, they're afraid to speak up. And I am supporting foolishness. You guys have a good night.
I appreciate it, Carlo. Thanks for your call. Go ahead, Rusty.
Yeah. So basically,
Continue. Yes.
yeah. So the policy, if it's still acting, I would like that to be done already. But I'll go further. I talked about health as a tourism, because if
Yes.
a husband and wife, if he's sick, she got breast cancer, what happens? She comes to St. Kitts, and the husband comes to St. Kitts. I don't think the best thing for the husband to be staying at Marriott when the wife is at JNF, for argument's sake, and stuff like that. Here in Taiwan, when your husband or wife or whoever it is sick, your child or what have you, you can stay in the hospital with them. There's a chair that pulls out as a bed, and you can sleep and get stuff for your kids. The hospital here is completely different. Our hospital services here, to me, is nicer than Taiwan, in the sense that you don't get food. You have to buy your food. So breakfast you have to buy breakfast, lunch you have to buy lunch, and stuff you have to buy. In St. Kitts you get this stuff, but you get nutritional stuff. Because I remember I wasn't eating, and then the nutritionist came to me and said, "Why are you not eating?" Blah blah blah. I said, "I don't eat this, I don't eat that." Blah blah. And so they gave me food that I need. In St. Kitts, I was hypertensive, and one night on evening they brought cheese, sardine, and something to tin food and that kind of stuff to give to me. I wasn't gonna eat that because I know I'm hypertensive. I know I'm hypertensive since I'm 29, so I know my condition. I don't eat processed food. I cook my own food. I have vegetables and that kind of stuff. I do my own stuff. So things like that I want to reintroduce, and they're also therapeutic stuff. You might think, why would a hospital need a pool? because therapy, there's some people who need that type of therapy and that kind of stuff. All those things that we don't think a hospital is supposed to have or engage in should have. And every single medical test, if you're going to go to medical tourism, all that is needed for that, the hospital should have. And there's no reason why we can't have a 6, 7, 10 floor hospital. There's no reason for that. So all those stuff that I'm thinking about. And my daughter, one of my daughters, she has a joint problem, and her hand slip out, her shoulder slip out, and I couldn't get it back in. I took her to a hospital there in Malden area, and the doctor tell me, "Oh, her hand ain't pull out." He telling me that we watching the hand see the joint pull out. So he said he gonna give her injection. I said no. Let me take my daughter to Bastia, Genève, because I was living in Canada at the time. So I went to Genève. My daughter went, and they took her to the X-ray room. And I'm sitting outside waiting for her to come out the X-ray room. And as they set the shoulder for the X-ray, I heard the pop when it went back in. I heard it pop. And then they're going to come on and tell me, "Oh, nothing wrong with the shoulder." I said, "But you didn't hear pop it back in? You heard it." So things like that, training for our nurses. I know we have a lot of Filipino nurses. They're very good. I'm here with them in Taiwan. They're really nice people. But we need to educate our nurses. I know we had a nurse here in Taiwan. She helped me very well. Can't call her name, but I know her name. I can't call her name. She helped me very well. She studied here in Taiwan. I think she has a master's in nursing. All of that kind of stuff we need to upgrade for our medical situation. And another thing, we're hearing a lot of people dying of cancer. Young people dying of cancer. We don't know where they're getting it from. And there's nobody, no doctors decide, I'm going to check to find out what's going on. Or what, no medical community deciding to figure out, well, why are we dying from cancer? But we hear all kind of stuff from different places, blah, blah, blah. And we going that route. So I would like to have a medical system, or whatever you call it, to look into death, why people are dying, how they're dying, is it too much sugar, is it whatever it is. We look into these stuff and see what happens. So things like that in terms of health, I would really like to get out of the way. And the hospital.
But these stuff, but stuff like these, and when someone died, an autopsy is done, so they know, well, this person died of hypertensive or die of these things, or kidney failure. Most of these times, so they're supposed to have this data. Are they just not doing the research? And when it comes to eating healthy and putting stuff in order, I think is the system is function. Correct. You see what I mean? Correct. And public relations have a big way to play along with all these different stuff.
But those stuff don't come out. Let me go back to a story. Do you remember a minister was pregnant and lost a child?
Can't say. No, I can't say.
Okay, it happened. But somebody in the hospital take the people information and bring it out. But if the people are dying from AIDS, people who are dying from cancer, their cancer is caused by AIDS. We don't know. We don't know if it's too much. We don't know the AIDS situation in our country now. We know about the COVID, but we don't know about the AIDS situation. It could have been AIDS. I don't know. I'm not speculating. It could be AIDS, because AIDS can cause anything. Once your immune system is broken down, anything can happen to you. Any disease can come to you. And so until we learn and know, the people must know what's going on. That's it. That's the thing. So even if the information you get, your autopsy, you die from heart attack, blood trauma, whatever, we need to know. And this information, I think, should be made known to the public. So 3 things I want to talk about: health tourism, this redesign of hospitals. That's one. That's another thing. And the policies. Those 3 things I wanted to mention. Just the way we design hospitals, the policies of the hospital, which again will give us more information on people's death, the way where they're dying, what's causing the problem, and that kind of thing. And another thing, while I'm talking about this, I don't know if you all have ever been into a group and you're going around giving out food hampers to old people. That thing just irks me to hell. It irks me because you're gonna go to old Miss Mary down Shea Lane, and you're gonna give Miss Mary a bag with flour, sardine, mackerel, flour, eggs, whatever. You don't know what Miss Mary is sick of. You don't know what problems she have. You first need to find out what she can eat and cannot eat. before you go and just give her this whole tin of stuff and once a year. It's 365 days a year. Listen, it hurts my heart to tell this story because when my party going on, we're gonna give away hampers, food hampers. What happened to tomorrow, the next day? People, when I help people, when I try to help people, I help them for as long as I can. So when anybody who know me and say, "But Rusty, look after me, Rusty, do this, blah, blah, blah," because I want to help people. You can't give somebody tuna and this today and think they're gonna live for the rest of the year, and you come back next Easter or next Christmas or next Independence. It doesn't work like that. And that brings me to another important point. Our infirmary road with the poorhouse and the children stuff up there, all those buildings, I'll demolish them. I'll demolish them instantly. Demolish them. There is no reason why a man with a mental problem should be in a four walls with a grill for a door. There's no reason. Because that would just carry crazy, make you more even crazy. I will knock all of that down and build proper. This is 2025, guys. 2025. There must be ways we can treat people. In my time growing up, well, there are other people, but there was a man called King Kong, a crazy man called King Kong. He used to break the traffic posts, them bend them and that kind of stuff. He was that mad.
So why up until this point where we have where you call it home again, the Cardin home? That's the right name? The citizen home? The Cardin home. Why up until this point you haven't have something truly renovated and built to suit, this modern time and expand with extra rooms and stuff like that to facilitate the aging population in a sense like that? Why have not with the amount of resources that have passed through St. Kitts and Nevis, and we will see that our healthcare system is practically basically the same, where you still have to paying this large amount of money for MRI and all this different stuff, and even eye surgery. You not even have the facility to have a proper eye surgery. You have to go overseas and all these things. I think our leaders have been doing us an injustice for the last 42 years, and they all just come back, do a little this, and they act like they're doing us a favor, and they're really failing us. And that is the sad thing, and the people accepting this thing, because when they go, they're going to say, "Oh, well, we're better than this island." Me no want to hear that. I don't care about next island when I have the resources and the palace and the resources to do what we have to do to make us way 1,000 times better. You're going to tell me because them across the street they have a wooden door. Me supposed to get a wooden door too? No, so you go. We have the resources. Our people know better, so stop treating us like this. But is we to blame?
Exactly.
Look at this point. You still can't build this smart. Start bring up this hospital. You still can't start this Bastia High School. Well, where all the money there? Me not understand. Where all the money that we're supposed to have? Where are all this money that's supposed to there, but yet you still have a prison project continue consistently moving, going. Are the prison more important than a school or healthcare? Me not over these things there, which is more important.
Thank you very much. And I want to add to that.
These are just common sense things.
You talk about the country having money. Let me go to CBI with the money that CBI made, and our poor people down at the Cardin home area. Don't you think they should have been thinking about building that? And let's go to prison. Let me tell you something. We don't need a new prison. All we need to do is two things you can do. You can knock down the police station in Bastia and rebuild it higher up if necessary, and put the prison where it has always been. That can be done with ease. And don't tell me it can't be done with ease, because when Zambo was in prison, they burned it down. I don't know if you all remember all this stuff. I was public relations for Simmons at that time. Public relations, assistant president public relations. The policeman, the chief policeman is a Guyanese, I think he was, called his office instantly. We have this fire going, we need to get something on the news. When that happened, nobody was in the prison. They had to evacuate everybody from the burnt out prison, and they put them in a prison in the Bird Rock area. They're going up at Curtis Mattis, one of the places up that side. When you're going up to the port, somewhere up that area, they put them in. So you can find another place to put the prisoners in the meantime, and then rebuild this stuff as you go up. That's just one of my ideas. There are many ideas. Again, let me explain this. What the ideas I'm talking about tonight on your show are ideas that I have. It doesn't mean that if and when I get into office, I'm gonna say, okay, this is gonna be this is what I'm gonna do, because I don't know what was going on before. I will sit down with the engineers and the people and whoever needs to sit down with, discuss my ideas, and then fashion it to what can be done. I could only talk now. I'm talking without facts per se. You heard me talk about my child can't visit me at the
Of
hospital.
course.
I don't know if it's still around, but I will have to fashion that because I'm in Taiwan. I'm not in St. Kitts. I'm not getting information. When I call people, oh, Rusty may want to say this, Rusty may want to say that, all kind of stuff. I say, okay, cool. I will just say what I have to say. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But every project I talk about, I will make sure it is feasible before I actually put pen and paper to sign it out. And that's
Okay,
basically
beautiful.
how
Let me get this call. Let me get this caller in. Caller, good evening.
Yes, good night again, Brother Bankie,
Yes, good evening.
Rusty, and this is the voice of Winston. Welcome again. Man, I could not more than agree with Rusty. Knock down the Cardin homes and build new facility for the people who has a mental instability. I don't want to use the word crazy. A mental instability or a balance somewhere along the way while they will move forward in their life. Now, the other thing is, I believe these people are ignored and they are next to nothing. Don't if they're treated like human beings. But we have to give these people dignity because they are humans. And the condition of the Cardin homes, and even to average people living around the country, refuse, if there is a family who will continue to take care of them, to avoid them from going into the Cardin homes. But the condition of the Cardin homes and the respect that the people should be getting, it's not there. And going back to the CBI, there was so much money passed through the CBI that every aspect of any kind of services in Zenki should have been in tip-top condition. And that is the reason why I am running as an independent, because these politicians had chance and they become ignorant and they don't think about the people, but they think about themselves and their family. And for that reason, I cannot associate with those kind of people. To me, they are aliens. Aliens that don't have no kind of humanity in them. And this new independent candidates, we are the model to give a chance. Too much of the old system. Let burn the old grass and bring up new grass, which will be green and vibrant. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks for your caller,
I
caller.
take it back.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think what I would do right now, right, is give you guys a little break while I go through some of the comments on the wall. I think right now there's a question
Yes.
there directed to Rusty. That's on the wall right now. It says most persons aspiring to sit in government like to brandish grand ideas of what they will do when elected. How would Liburd finance all his aspirations if elected, other than taxes? That's the question there for you. Taxes, other than by collecting taxes.
I'll say it this way. I don't know where the monies are in government. Had I known where the monies are in government, I would literally go and write, I'm gonna do it from the income tax from not tax from this area, blah blah blah. But I can tell you this. When St. Kitts wanted a stadium, we got the money from Taiwan. When St. Kitts wanted money for oil, we got it from Venezuela. Right? I did tell you guys, I'm not sure if I did, but I also told you I'm into one of my degrees, my master's degrees in international affairs. So if I can get the money from home without taxing anybody, because I'm not interested in taxing anybody, if I cannot get the money from international affairs, like the people who go to Dubai and do their stuff and get the money that kind of way. And let me make this point clear. I spoke to Winston about this already. I am not the kind of person who gonna, and Bankie made the point a while ago. I am not the kind of person who gonna be selling passports. So if you want your passports to be sold, don't vote for me. I'm not gonna be selling the passports. Not that you already said 100 and something passports. St. Kitts Nevis is 50,000 people. I ain't sending a passport. So there are ways to fund projects that I want to fund. That is my opinion. I leave it there for now. But I'm not taxing anybody for anything, other than the ordinary taxes that are there. And I'll go further. There's some taxes on the books, which I call ridiculous taxes. I think when I take the boat in St. Kitts, I pay the ferry boat tax in St. Kitts, and I reach Nevis, I pay another tax in Nevis. I'm not in that kind of stuff. You pay one tax, you share between St. Kitts and Nevis, and it's done. And I ain't going to increase no tax. If it's just $10, you split it 5 or whatever the situation is. That's it. I'm not in taxing anybody. We have enough money, and I've learned through the MSR issue that there are locals. There are locals who have 500 plus US dollars, 500 million plus US dollars in bank account. Where do they get the money from? The CBI stuff. So although we have money still in China, that we can, if I find it out to be true, if it's true for real, I don't know. I just heard what MSR guy said, Felipe Martinez. If it is true, that's the money we need. All the money that they have out there, that's the money we need. And if we're smart about money, we have central bank on the island. Let central bank invest our 500 million plus or whatever we have for us, so we could just use the interest or the revenue from that to do what we need to do. It's not that difficult. But people can say, "Oh, he come with these good ideas."
No. Me dig that one day. Central bank can't even budget and build a house for the governor. That.
No, that's different. That's different, Bankie. That's different. I have my knowledge on that. That's different. That is not central bank per se. That is the governors. The ministers who are involved in the central bank. That's why Gonzalez from St. Vincent came out and spoke about it. This is not central bank itself spending stuff. You can't hear, Bankie. You can't hear.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but if you have a team of people who want to manage a project, it gotta be people who are within the banking system and so forth at the same time. So how can something like that reach so far and so scandalous? No, that's too much of money.
Do you know that central bank invests money? Central bank itself invests money every day. I think it's every day, every working day. They do it all the time, and that's how they.
Well, of course, I can understand that. Of course, everybody. Of course.
But I want to make this point. This come out to education. I almost miss it. A teacher with a BA, a bachelor's degree in accounting in St. Kitts wouldn't make more than $3,000 a month. Our accountant with a BA working in central bank would make about $8,000. Now, why would I go to teach? And I can make $8,000 if I can get into central bank. And that's the thing I want to change in my country. And there's a guy singing Calypso this year or last year, whatever it was, about teachers. He won the Calypso King. I don't know if you guys know about that. Talk about teachers and money. That's one thing on the top of my list.
Yes.
Teachers will be paid comparatively with the highest people in the land. Because without teachers, I couldn't be where I am today.
Yes. We have a call coming in. Yahsonn? Caller, good evening.
Yeah, to you guys. Good evening to the guests.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, good evening. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, quick questions. For the guest there, Rusty. Let me try to ask him some earlier questions. Number one, we see how the Trump administration is acting overseas in the USA, and they're sending back people to the islands. I want to know how he's going to handle, or how he recommend the government of the day handling the deportees coming back to the Federation. That's number one. Number two, I want to get to comment on the regionally. We're going regionally. I want to comment on the build-up of the U.S. military down in Venezuela. Number three, let me get some comments from him as well directly to the Destiny Project, proposed Destiny Project coming on Nevis.
I appreciate it.
And number four, and lastly, I'm going to bring it home to all of you who say you guys are independent running in the next election. We know that independence is not really an established party per se. So when it comes down to it, as the results come out on the election night, and like he said, he's willing to work with certain people and not willing to work with others. I want to know how would he or any one of the independents will handle who will be chosen to be prime minister. And I'll leave it there. And I want to get those questions answered, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right. Can I just deal with the last one first? When you get to that bridge, we will deal with that. And again, we don't know who's going to win. We don't know who's going to win. Bankie might be the only person winning his seat in the federal government. That might be it. And he will have to figure out what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. If I win in my seat, I know what I will do. I know my plans. I know my plans of what I will do. But I wouldn't be calling anybody. I'll be home lying on my bed waiting for calls. And depending on the calls I get, I make the decision. That's that. I didn't understand his third question, so I'll skip that until if you could repeat it for me. We talk about the Trinidad stuff and Trump. I am totally upset with CARICOM. I am totally annoyed with the Prime Minister of Trinidad for allowing the U.S. to have its ships in the Caribbean to fight with Venezuela. Because what many of you all might not know, not you on the show, the outside public may not know, is that Trump is trying to cause a war in the Caribbean. I said that about 4 months ago, that while the world is fighting war, Middle East and all over the place, wherever they're fighting the wars, Trump is going to start a war in the Caribbean. And for the life of me, Caribbean people are being killed daily in the boats, going fishing or whatever. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. They could be traveling drugs, they could do whatever they want to do. Trump does not have the right to kill anybody. But he said it already. He said, I can go to 57 where the square near the park them in New York and kill somebody and nothing could be doing. And we are sitting down, prime ministers are sitting down in the Caribbean, not doing one damn thing. Sorry, I don't mean to swear in this show. I apologize. Nothing they were doing. Absolutely nothing. No, prime minister. Instead, they'll go take a picture with him and hang out with him. Oh, take a picture with Trump. Well, I'm not a Trump guy. And I've written about him on my Facebook pages so much time. And my friends keep telling me, you ain't going for a visa. I don't need a visa to go to the US. I can come back home to the UK or some other place. I don't need a US visa to come back home. So I'm totally against what's going on in the Caribbean with them bombing the ships and talking about drugs and that kind of stuff without proof. Without any proof. He's not presenting any proof to us. But because he's bigger than us, let me ask you all this question. What if one of those bombs he's bombing up the place with happen to misprogram and it drop in St. Kitts? It might sound like a far-fetched because all the way down there in Guyana, Venezuela, or wherever they be, it can't go up by St. Kitts. It might sound weird, but it might be St. Kitts, might be Grenada, might be St. Lucia, might be St. Vincent, one of St. Vincent Grenadines. We never know, but we're not saying anything. So I'm not interested in that. And the first question, what the first question he asked? I don't know the first one. I don't know. But I answer what I remember. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Bankie, your mic unmuted, but mute. But I think he asked.
No, he asked about the SSZ, about the SSZ project, the Destiny project, SSZ, the Destiny project the SSZ, that's proposed in Nevis.
Let me answer it this way. Right now, people are calling me here in Taiwan, begging me for money. We're sending $100. We're sending it. I think you're making enough money, making out of this, whatever. People in St. Kitts are under pressure for their livelihood. But instead, the governments, I can use the S here now, Bankie, governments are looking after the SSZ people, foreigners, white-skinned people, yellow-skinned people. Not that I'm a racist. I'm not far from being a racist. But I'm saying, why not look after your own first? Why not your own? You're going to give up acres of land. In Nevis, I think it's about 10% of the land. I don't remember the number. But they're giving up that amount of the land to foreigners? Are you serious? There's some African leaders say, once you give up your land, you give up your power. Once you give up your land, you give up your power. And if that's what Sinkies want to have happen to themselves and call it development, what do you want to tell me? Bankie can take 10 acres and make a development for himself, and it benefits the country. That's something Pam was doing that I liked. Pam never ever introduced no foreign hotels like Marriott and Hyatt and that kind of stuff. They always empower the locals, OTI and Gateway Inn and those people to have the hotels going. That's something I like. Look at Jamaica. You had what the guy name? The rich guy who have the hotels. I can't remember his name right now. He died now. But his son is running his hotels. All over the Caribbean. Why can't we have some hotel here somewhere in Sandals, correct. Thanks, Bankie. Yeah. Why can't we have the same people doing similar things? And it's not just hotels, it's other areas we are good at. Let me make this other point, because I didn't want to talk about it. This is business. It's nothing to do with this stuff. In business, there's a guy across Lozak Road, makes excellent chairs from Plaid, what do you call them? Plaid, with them boxy kind of stuff where you move things on thing, whatever that
Pallets.
He makes chairs. Pallets. He makes chairs and stuff from that. Excellent stuff. If I ever to get a house again and have to have a room, I would go to him and design my own chairs with him and pay him decently. I can almost bet you, I might be wrong, but I can almost bet you, he'd never get paid more than $500 for that. You know why? Because he's an old boy, he might be smoking weed, he might be doing this, he might be doing that, he got too much woman, blah, blah, blah. He's doing it in the alley, in the street. I've seen his chairs.
But it's his talent.
But that's the point. It's his skill.
It's his craftsmanship. It's his craftsmanship. It doesn't matter where he's at. It doesn't matter where he's at. It's the craftsmanship.
Exactly. But everybody want them courts and I want them TDC and I want them Hosfors or whatever the name. They're supposed to buy these plywood crappy stuff and pay 20, 30, whatever. And the guy's stuff is excellent. That's him. I went to SSZ to tell him, listen, why you guys don't interview the guy? Come and do a 15-minute stuff with the guy for your news. Because I'm a journalist. They have a man up there. They say he's from Step. He said, oh, they don't advertise with us, so we can't do nothing with them. I never hear more ridiculousness in my life. Because a man don't advertise. I can put them on the TV. When you put them kind of people on the TV, that's when you get more advertisement. There's a girl in Newtown, in Jeffrey constituency. She does excellent decorations and design. I'm almost certain, I don't know, but I'm almost certain she's more with him than with the Pam people. I'm almost certain, I'm not sure, right? And she's really good. She does good work. Why not interview her? And she does that other stuff. I think she does cosmetic stuff and stuff like that. Why don't they interview her? The other people, there's a lady at Monkey Hill, I can't remember her name. She gave me a business card. She does good cakes and puddings and stuff like that. Why don't go and interview these people? Show the examples of good things that is going on in our country. But we don't want to do that. We just want to give the white man this and the white man must have this and they're planning to give away our white gate to somebody. That's what Douglas said in the SSZ.
You know, Rusty, as you're making that point, right? One of the things that stand out for me is like when I think of that place up there, the old sugar factory, where Bristol was. Rest in peace, my brother. I look at Bristol and I look at the fact that we're talking about the circular economy and waste management and so on. And the brother was leading a pioneer in that aspect. Where the Taiwanese now is stepping in and doing the recycling program. Bristol was way ahead. Bristol was actually even paying for you to bring back the cans and the bottles and so on. He was bailing them, shipping them out. In terms of the furniture you're talking about, he does upholstery as well. So a lot of you have your living room chairs and so instead of throwing them away and creating more waste, he was able to renovate them and fix them back and make them look, more than brand new. He actually was taking some of the old plastics and old waste oil from kitchens and so on and turning them into fuel that he was using in his trucks to reduce the cost of fuel. So I mean, but I found that a lot of people, instead of assisting the brother and seeking to help the business, people talk about, how up they look so trashy and up there things look messy up there and so on, instead of us giving support. And sometimes the reason, when you go deeper down, the reason is sometimes political. Instead of, we fight against sometimes for political reasons. And I think we really need to get beyond these things. If we have people in the country who can do things, utilize the people you have, support your own people, as you mentioned. And so that is something that I just wanted to interject that, as you brought that point out, talking about the person who is doing this and doing that, and we don't support our own. Support.
I'll go in further.
Well, we're here. Okay. Go ahead, Rusty, when you finish.
There's a young man, he's dead now. Young man, he started a pizza establishment right in the corner of Central Street and College Street. Was doing excellent pizza, much better than Pizza Hut or whatever we have there. Was doing 10 times better. But they killed the youngster because I walk out, he was making a lot of money. Yeah, they killed the youngster.
Yes.
And nobody.
Yes.
Other point I want to make is FedEx. FedEx started out with government assistance, U.S. government assistance, and look at FedEx today. It's all over the world, and we can see investments in our people. We can see our business, whatever they call it, in the ministries. You can see, okay, this person is doing good. Let's invest into him. Let him make this kind of money. Let her make this kind of money. We can't see that. We always want to pull down our people, like Yahsonn said. It's politics. It's mostly politics, and then jealousy and envy and that kind of stuff. That's how it goes. We will never get anywhere. That's why I keep saying the people would rise under my leadership.
I want to touch a little about agriculture, because last week Friday, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, Bankie,
Yeah.
but before you do that, let me take 2 minutes and go through some of the comments.
Okay.
And
No
then
problem.
I'll let you come with that point. So we're going to go through the YouTube comments. We have Sherry and Richard saying, good evening, gentlemen. Lynetta Daniels saying, what position is he running for as an independent? Mighty Servant says, Shabazz, regardless of how persons speak or act, one should never let their behavior whether they be politicians or Jesus Christ, their negative behavior should not encourage you to not see country above self. I guess that's when you were talking about the country above self issue, when you were saying, based on how the politicians talk and so on, you could tell that, you would never respect them because of how they talk and so on. Anyway, question, what do Mr. Liburd propose to be done other than election and the no confidence motion to hold no function parliamentarians accountable for non-actions during an administration? What do Mr. Liburd propose to be done other than election and a no confidence motion to hold non-functional parliamentarians accountable for non-actions during the administration? I guess trying to figure out what would you propose to do other than voting them out or having no vote of confidence to hold parliamentarians accountable for not functioning or not taking actions or doing action. What would you propose to do?
All right, in my cursory understanding of that point, basically, if somebody's not functioning or not doing what they're supposed to do, I would speak up. That's all I could do, because they did mention the only options is really to vote them out or whatever the other option was. Those are the only options. I could only
vote on no confidence. Vote on no confidence. Yes. Right.
That can be legally done, other than me speaking out and saying, this ain't doing the job, this ain't doing that. That's all I could do as a candidate.
All right.
That's
Jessica Jarrett says that is true, Bankie. Too much political colors. C. Gaskell says, big up Rusty, you got Bankie to do some talking. Lynetta Daniel says, vote common sense, not party, especially when they are not serving you. Jessica Jarrett says, true, that is crap. It happens in Nevis. For us a long time, I remember those times. I guess they're talking about when you go to the hospital and not allowing children to go inside. Mighty Servant
Yes.
says, question, Mr. Liburd, what would you say is your political philosophy? For example, Pan-Africanist, Federalist, Conservative, Socialist, Left Center, right, left.
You see, that's somebody who is really taking the conversation from local to regional and international. I don't want to go that far, but I'll just tell you my philosophy for running in St. that's it, is just to serve and help the people. That's it. Because at the end of the day, Rusty is going to be okay. Okay. I'm going to give you a story about me. Richard Keynes, who is my, I don't want to say God, but almost close to. Richard Keynes had admired me. He knows about my stuff and things like that. He actually tried to help me financially as well. But when he was dying, when he was going to die, he called me into his room. He said, Rusty, I need to help you. I need to help you. I'm going now. I want to help you. Richard Keynes called Timothy Harris. He called Eugene Hamilton. He called Sean Richard. He called John L. Powell. He called Aquila Byron. All of them. Most times outside in the veranda, because when they move outside, you want some cool days out in the veranda. And Richard Keynes and I ball, literally ball like kids, because none of them would take his call. None. The reason being, they didn't want to help me. They didn't want to help me. I got a step further. I was not supposed to be here in Taiwan studying. You all probably wouldn't know that. I'm not supposed to be here in Taiwan. The first time the ambassador who played tennis with me on a special court, he came and said, Rusty, you have all this qualification. Why don't you come to Taiwan to study? I said, okay, if I could go, I only know if I could go, it's okay. He said, no problem. Send on the form. I did the form, everything. 2019, the team unity stopped me from coming to Taiwan. Stop me. Listen to this story carefully, guys. Listen carefully. June 1st, 2020. June 1st, 2020. The ambassador called me on my house phone, not my cell phone, my house phone, and said, Rusty, you are going to Taiwan. You are going to Taiwan. Everybody else knew they were going closer to November. I knew June 1st. Election was June 5th. Okay, I guess that one gone away for you guys. I suppose that one gone away for you guys. Sorry, guys, but that's all I can say for now. That's all I can say for now.
Okay. Yahsonn, I wanted to touch about a little bit of agriculture. I know last week, Friday, we have an interview with Minister Samuel Duggins, where we had a caller call in and spoke about the feed crisis that was going on in St. Kitts. At the time, he mentioned he went at the ministry to get some onion seeds, and by arriving to get the onion seed, he realized he had to wait over 2 hours to get those seeds because of a container just coming from feeds when it comes to for rabbits, different type of pigs, goat, sheep, whatever it is, along with poultry. So, but only limited amount of feed you could have gotten. So some get 2 bags, 3 bags, 1 bag, and all the feed finish the same day. So there are no more feed within St. Kitts right now. So the next feed shipment coming in will be next week, Tuesday. What the general public might not know is that the ministry, the government is not into the business, have now given up subsidizing or selling feed at the department and are going to privatize it. This is going to affect people like me who is also a crop farmer, who want drip line, seeds, resources when it comes to agriculture. They're going to stop selling inputs. How can a government, when you're moving towards a 2025 agenda, a 2030, when it comes to food security, going to go out the way to stop provide this initiative and subsidize this and privatize feeds? It means you're going to drive up the cost of eggs, you're going to drive up the cost of poultry meat, of pork, of mutton. So don't these guys think about these kind of things? This thing don't make no sense. So next week Tuesday, farmers are going to have to have increased prices and their layer ration. You understand? They starter feed, mash for pigs, whatever it is, and farmers now gonna have to go and deal with a private company come to buying drip lines. When it come to buying, these things don't make no sense. So the ministry gonna have to come out to the general public and ask why something like this, and the cabinet also approving these things. So this thing is led by the foot of the Prime Minister and the whole cabinet, because all inside the cabinet, this have got to cabinet briefing, because the biggest problem is the taking feed from St. Vincent and then not paying for the feed. If you're getting feed for $1, you can't sell it for 50 cents. You don't sell it for $1 quart to make sure you have to cover the shipping and at least to break even so you can pay back the people for the feed. You don't let the feed run up to $1 million plus, can't pay it, can't pay tropical and all this, and then so this thing don't make no sense. Right now you have an acting PS, because the PS who was there now is seen to be on leave and until permanent, until whenever. And the one who is there now, well, how this gonna work? You see? How this thing gonna work? So therefore the acting PS now have to come out and speak to the general public. How coming this next feed gonna come and go to privatize? This showing me that you're not serious when it comes to bringing on the cost of feed, and when it comes to helping farmers, because I, as a crop farmer, can't go nowhere and say, well, I want $100,000 with no interest rate or whatever it is in a year or two before start pay. Nothing. Even small business, these things are not there. So why next week is just on the corner, you know, so these things have been planned. So you're telling me finance and with all these accolades and all these degrees don't know, could not tell this guys, you guys got to put something in place where you got to have the feed balance. You can't be honestly in feed. These are common sense thing. This thing don't need rocket scientists. So how finance who run in the country cannot convince these guys you must break even and we can move forward. We can make to understand these are a submission that was placed to the minister, and the minister refused to break even. The minister accepted the proposal to go privatize. So the minister accepted the proposal to go privatize the feed industry and the crop industry when it comes to seeds and all these different and the inputs. And the Prime Minister and his cabinet accept this, going privatize. Something is wrong with this. So we need answers upon this. So what's your thought on that, Yahsonn, Rusty, if you all feel to touch that card? This is very, very sad.
Yeah, I want to touch that. I want to tell you this. This has been my impression for the first time from 2022. When these guys got into power, they just went into power for fashion. Nice clothes, nice car, that's it. That's all they were thinking about. They had no plan for the whole country. You remember when they had 2025 or whatever it was called, the farmers did produce and they took their product down to wherever and all of it was wasted. All of it was wasted. And that is the problem. They don't have no plans. They have no organization. They have no vision to do anything. You want to tell me, I have a friend who's a farmer in rabbits. He does rabbit stuff. And he's telling me, boss, I can't get a feed, I can't get a this and that. You want to tell me a minister can sit down with his PS and say, okay, we have rabbits, we have this, that. 10 different types of feed we need to get. Let's make sure we have enough feed on the island for 6 months. Every 4th month, we make sure we increase the order. So you're never out of feed. Why you can't think like that? Why go give Tom, Dick, and Harry the contracts? Because they're going to make it more expensive. They're going to make it much more expensive for you. So they're going to pay somebody to make money off of your feed when you could get from the... What's the purpose of the agriculture department then? There's no need for agriculture department if you're going to get to private that kind of stuff. And then, touching on that, there's a friend of mine who wants a tractor. And you can't give me a tractor duty free? I'm going to buy my own tractor to do my own plowing on my own land. All these things. Have you seen the greenhouse in St. Kitts? It is a waste. It is a waste. They just build up a frame. And that's it. Some acres of land to build up a frame and that's it. They're not interested. But people don't understand that. It angers me. It angers me because people want, listen, St. Kitts can produce enough food for St. Kitts and proper food. Because I remember Marriott wasn't taking local food products because they're not the right size and not this and that kind of stuff. You know, I like chicken. And I was going to buy chicken at home. And I read the chicken with a monster leg. You'd see a chicken with a monster foot. I said, what the heck is wrong with chicken? I come here in Taiwan. I realize the chicken them is a normal size chicken, which means that the chicken that they're buying from wherever they're getting them from, they're pumping all kind of whatever into them to make them fat and big and quick and die and what have you. I don't want that fowl anymore. I would never eat a chicken like that. I want a normal chicken with normal organic. Let me use the words I use now. Organic. I want an organic whatever it is I'm eating. I'm not gonna eat any pumped up any crap. No. And there are ways to do it. There are ways. If you go on my Facebook page, You will see how you can get your carrots and stuff to grow bigger, fatter, and what have you. So that's the point. The people who are in charge of these ministries, all of the ministries, tourism, health, all of them, even the prime minister who is the doctor, all of them, they don't really care about the ministry. All they care about is how much money they can put in their pocket. If you don't believe me, in the 2020 elections, after they done win, the first thing they did, the AG went in the house and said, we're going to give ourselves 30% increase or more because we don't want to thief the money anymore. We don't want to thief the money. Made a statement like that in Parliament. And people sit down and accept that. I don't want to thief, but why you don't give me more? I get a pension. When I got my pension first, one of the guys who just called in, he tried to get me to answer him. He said, I am not, my pension, I taught for 18 years and I retired. My pension when I reached 50 was $900. Never make 1,000 yet. They increased another time, it was 9 something, 990 and something. I think it was the third time is when I finally reached over 1,000. Only 1,000 something dollars I get for a pension from St. Kitts. And these things I'm telling you, and I have friends who are still alive today who was working with government from 1979, who retired in 1979, who at the time they retired, their pension was $400 something. How that person who now is an elderly, how that person, I don't know what they reach up to, how they're going to live? All those stuff, which I didn't plan to talk about, I will reintroduce, because an old person and disabled. I was also a public relations officer for the Disabled Society in St. Kitts. Do you know what kind of money it takes to care for a disabled person? It takes a lot of money. Much more than it takes for me and you. Especially if they have a physical health problem as well. And we don't see that.
Of course. Yes.
There's one story I want to make. I went to the youth and community office to help a young lady. She wanted a wheelchair, motorized wheelchair, so that she can work at the factory, right? Because the government was giving her $100, $100 something, $20 every month from Social Security. She said, I went to the girl at the lady at I think she was in charge of the Speaker of the House. I can't remember her name anyway. I went to her. She told me, oh no, we don't do that. She not realizing the girl now going to work at the factory will make much more money than they're giving her a week. And Social Security will be getting paid because she working now, so Social Security will be taken out of the money she working for. They don't see things like that. They just work out, oh, she's a cripple. They're disabled. Don't worry them. They're nobody. That's what we see people. The same thing going on down the Candidate home. They think the people down the Candidate home can't vote or they in this and they in that. That's how we behave. They don't think about them as people. They just come out of these. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
This is the wrong time. Yeah, go ahead, Yahsonn.
question on Rusty. As we are winding down, what's your position on the cannabis and using cannabis as a means of revenue generation, part of diversifying the economy? What's your position in that regard?
I laugh because I prepared for that question, but I couldn't get the name of the guy. I prepared for this question. I don't know why I prepared for this question. I don't know if you know, they had a match in St. Kitts. I was in the match. I was in front of the match. A couple of friends from K-On, they said, where's the man that smoke weed? I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke weed. Let me back up. I smoked weed once in the village. Some friends of mine were up there. They get past the spliff to smoke it. I didn't feel anything. I was cool. When I went to Jamaica to study, I smoke a cigar. You might call it a weed, but they make their thing thick and big and long. And I smoked that thing. Oh my God, I was laughing. I couldn't catch myself. I was really going crazy in my head. And then I stopped from that. That's the only 2 times I ever smoked weed. But I believe in people's rights. And if your religious rights are to smoke weed, I am for it. I am for it 100%. That's why I attended the match. So I support it. But then we went on to a show. Sugar City Rock, I think it was called, the one of Greenlands. Went on the show. And I was telling the Rasta men then, I'm not Rasta. I pretend to be one, but I'm not Rasta. But I tell the Rasta men then, I say, listen, you have a golden opportunity here now. You have the weed. You can plant 2 or 3 in your yard, whatever it was, whatever, right? Why don't you use it to make money? You have to make money. You can't just smoke the weed and you're done and that kind of stuff. You need to make money. And that's another thing people need to know, the source of their income. And so there was a guy, an older guy, I can't remember his name, I think from Newtown area. He called, the rest man said, "Well, nobody want no money, man. We just want weed, blah, blah, blah." He called in right after the guy and said, listen to Rusty. Rusty's making sense. We need to do X, Y, and Z. So, yes, I'm behind marijuana. I have no problem with it at all. The only problem, I'll tell you, no, please don't smoke it in front of me, because once the smoke gets into my nostrils, I don't know if it's from the big cigar weed I smoke, but it sends me off. The smoke actually sends me off. That's the only reason I wouldn't want you to smoke in front of me. But I'm cool with marijuana. I'm very cool with and one day, I have a sleeping problem. I really have a sleeping problem right now. And so I was drinking the tea, marijuana tea. And the first time I drank the marijuana tea, I went to sleep about 11 o'clock at night and got up 4 o'clock the afternoon. So that really worked. It really did work for me. Since then, I stopped smoking it. But yeah, I have no problem in marijuana. I have no problem with marijuana at all.
Okay, Bankie, anything else you want? Okay, so
well, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to touch that comment with the situation with the food, with the cost of feed and the cost of not the cost of feed, but privatizing the feed and the seeds and the inputs when it comes to crops and stuff like that. It means that this is a Christmas season coming up in the next couple of weeks, and it shows that the cost of eggs and all this different stuff will be going up. So how we gonna be? When basic needs, eggs, which are protein for families and stuff like that, and when the government take a chance like this, and the ministers have no consultation with the general public and the stakeholders, they're gonna just raise the cost of feed. That is sad. But before you go to Yahsonn, let me take this last call, and then you're going to the rest of the conversation, the comments and stuff like that.
Yes, no problem.
Caller, good evening. You're the last call.
Okay, real quickly, straight to it. The question about the smoke water, right? We don't have a doctor on the panel, but I just want to get a general take. Maybe you guys can chime in on this. Even though we're hearing smoking marijuana is good, it has a lot of medical benefits, but I just want to know if you guys feel like it's recommended or not recommended. Should someone who has a chronic disease smoke marijuana, and what's the drawbacks from that or benefits if there might be? And for Rusty, I want him to tell the listening public what is he personally bringing back to the Federation from Taiwan. And then this is a general question. When Sinkis and Nevis decided to go into a relationship with Taiwan, right? What was the benefits for the Federation for doing that? What is the Federation get them from the relationship with the Taiwanese, and why aren't we? He's seen the advancement in Taiwan. We're not seeing that advancement in St. Nevis, which is a smaller place. Why we not get them, the Taiwanese, to help us in terms of building up the manufacturing sector or bringing the advancement of technology to create jobs for our people? And I'll leave it there. Oh, thanks, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your comments. Yes, son.
I told you there's a guy who's trying to get me to answer questions who I would answer on Facebook. That's the chap. But anyway, let me come back to his question. What are we getting from Taiwan? Apparently, the chap does not realize that his party was the one who damaged what could have been today the best thing we ever got from Taiwan. Because when Taiwan came to Sinkis in 1983, they came to Sinkis because sugarcane was going out. And so they came with a rice. They were teaching us how to grow rice in Sinkis. I don't know if you guys remember that or know about that. They were teaching us to make rice in Sinkis. But the rice they made was the rice they love over here. It's the top rice over here. They clumpy and sticky because they eat with the chopsticks. So you have to be clumpy, like when we like the grainy rice, right? They do the same grainy rice here. Had the opposition of the day, which was the Labour government, oh, they're making stupid rice, we want the rice, blah, blah, blah. And so the government fall, I guess the Palm government fell for that. had we developed the right situation with them, we in St. Kitts could have been supplying rice from Bermuda to Guyana. And that would have been our replacement for sugar. I don't know if you know there's dragon fruit being grown right now in St. Kitts, because mostly what Taiwanese do is agriculture for us. I don't know if you all know that. Mostly agriculture stuff, fruits and stuff. They do the agriculture for us. They have even brought fruits in St. Kitts a season, like mango have a certain season, this is a certain season. There were some fruits, they make them non-seasonal. They get them all year round. I don't know the agriculture term for that, so forgive me for that. But they have done all that for us. And even more, because he will know that the Kim Collins Stadium, whatever they call it, is Taiwanese. Taiwanese have given us money for lots of stuff. So I don't know what his question or what they're doing and what they're doing. And what I'm bringing back from Taiwan is the same thing I left St. Kitts with, my knowledge. All I have is my education and my knowledge. That's all. I don't have nothing else. So I don't know what he expect me to bring back. And I could tell you this. I am only here in Taiwan because I was never working in St. Kitts. Never had a job. When I came up with my first degree, no job. My first master's, no job. My second master's, no job. Wasn't working because the government, Team Unity and Labor just didn't care about Rusty. Never working. And so that's why I came to Taiwan, because my friends say, Rusty, come go to Taiwan, you'll get a better living out here. Which is true. I'm living 10 times better in Taiwan than in St. Kitts. So if I have to come back home, it's because I really love St. Kitts. That's what I'll be bringing back to St. Kitts. That's just to answer his question.
All right. I'm going to go through some of the other comments on the wall as we are getting closer to closing time. Jessica Jarrett says, sorry, for a long time that happened in Nevis. Children wasn't allowed to go into the hospital. Lynetta Daniel says, I would not go to those hospitals if I had a hangnail. They practice gross incompetence. Mighty Servant question, okay, we answered that question already. Blessed Night, Booba Love says, blessed night to the panel and happy Veterans Day to all veterans at home and abroad. Mighty Servant says, note that Gonzalez's son, who is the Minister of Finance in St. Vincent, was one of the governors who approved the funding for the governor's residence. Just saying. Booba Love saying, now we're talking, the money should be invested from our banks, and we also need to develop our credit system. Stop using friendship and family in making loans for our people. Wise move. Booba Love says, why do they need to go to them? Why don't they go to the people and show them how skilled they are? Also, we have to teach our people how to utilize proper channels of employment. Mighty Servant says, just a point of note, CARICOM, with the exception of Trinidad, did issue a statement on the U.S. buildup on arms in the Southern Caribbean on Venezuela coast. Burby Jones says, question for Rusty. The deputies, how will he re-establish them into, or the deportees, I guess he's trying to say. The deportees, how would you re-establish them into society? Don't know if he has the answer to that. Ubalov says, you already went that far, King. Answer the question. You were discussing U.S. politics, LOL. That's international, so that question deserves an answer. What are you? I guess that was in terms of the question whether you're Republican or you're Pan-Africanist or whatever the case may be. Bobby Jones says, we saw the fall of Denzel Douglas in 2015. What does Cleo the Fortune Teller tells Rusty about Mark Brantley? Is the Destiny Project going to bring him down? C. Gaskell, got the call June 1st to win your vote. Good question, Burl. Uber Love says SSZ is a rumor, and it will forever remain a rumor. Change the government on June 5th. Change plans, including travel itinerary. Judah I says, greetings, Rastafari live. Ask Rusty what priority would be given to human rights. Bobby Jones says, I was trying to follow Bankie when he was talking about the feed, but is there a rumor saying that the government is planning to privatize agriculture? Okay, then he said, got it, because I guess you did speak of that. The public must know about this. Why no transparency and the government is so reactive? Why the public should have to be left to assume or speculate? Why the minister or the PS can't make a public statement? Troy Sadia says, peace and blessings, brother. Bobby Jones says, I guess they will never subsidize agriculture again. The way out for the government is a shame. Mighty Servant, Cops, Bankie, Cops. Let the farmers join together and buy collectively, ship collectively, and share collectively. The Indian merchants and Chinese are already showing us it works. Bubalov says, so to produce the food, Rusty, you are willing to bring the monkey population under control in saving our agriculture communities. Mighty Servant again says, question, Mr. Liburd. There is a company in SKN that is Taiwanese owned and is doing now private construction. Do you support that? Bubalov, oh Lord, here we go. Poor weed. They're so afraid of her. Troy Sadia says, I see both went over Indian Castle to show the loss in agriculture in Nevis. Has the Ministry of Agriculture reached out to you about those concerns and conditions? Bobby Jones says, is smoking marijuana beneficial for someone with a chronic disease? Bubba Love, I am a proud member of the marijuana healing group. Bobby Jones, and well, okay, before we go back to that question, let me just go to the Facebook one and go through those 4 comments over here. Birdman Liburd says, excellent question about the role of independent candidates, Yahsonn Tafari. Marva D says, greetings, you are correct with that, Rusty. Clyde Griffin says, is he saying that the CBI program, which comes with citizenship, would be disbanded if elected? What is he saying actually? And then Clyde Griffin again says, I was hoping to hear him say, with all his already acquired degrees, he has already sat down and is currently engaged with a few locals and overseas businesses on how to partner and grow themselves locally through such mergers with the foresight to grow our people and our nation. Bobby Jones, I am not necessarily a doctor or a cannabis specialist, but in terms of smoking cannabis, if it's beneficial for people with chronic diseases, it all depends, and it depends on the various strains and what the disease is or may be. Cannabis is known to treat many wide different, areas of ailments. And that is why a lot of times, sometimes, it is just a good practice to make use of the plant from a holistic point of view, because it is said that how cannabis kind of functions in the body. We have an endocannabinoid system, everybody, whether you're, all human beings have an endocannabinoid system, plus animals. And it is said that there are a lot of other plants that has cannabinoids, but the cannabinoids that are in cannabis are very compatible with our endocannabinoid system. So when you use cannabis, and it doesn't, when I say use it, I don't necessarily mean in terms of smoking. It could be in the form of a tea, it could be in the form of a capsule, it could be in the form of an oil. But when it enters the system, it sort of functions like a Swiss Army knife. So it doesn't just fix what the problem is, but it goes through the system, and maybe even things that were not necessarily diagnosed by your doctor or might have been missed by your doctor, it can go through the system and sort of fix or realign those issues. So in that regards, yes, it can be used, but like I said, if there's a specific ailment, then you may have to look for the specific strain, and then you may have to look at the amount of whether it's THC or CBD or the other components or compounds that are in the cannabis that might be necessary to treat that specific area. So that's the best way I think I could respond to that question, Colby Jones, in relation to the cannabis. I don't know what else you might have remembered and you would want to touch on, Rusty, but I would give you that opportunity because we're at that point where we're gonna, be wrapping up. And I don't know if Bankie have any other questions for you before the wrap up. But I was gonna give him the opportunity, Bankie, to respond to anything in the comments that you wanted to respond.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that is fine. Rusty, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to check the marijuana stuff, whatever you call it. Not whatever you call it, marijuana. I was glued to my television station when Sanjay Gupta had weed 1, weed 2, weed 7, all the way up, and I saw the use of the marijuana, and I was impressed with it. So it had just what you said, Yahsonn. It had everything that you mentioned. So I don't have a problem with marijuana. If you want to have a problem with it, that's your problem. I don't. And I'm told that even some medicines that you are taking today have components of the marijuana plant in them. So I don't know why we're making a big deal about marijuana. It is not a big deal. For me, I just don't like it smoking thing from my face. But if I have to take it as a pill, I will. I have no problem with that at all. That's done. Coming back home on the deportees. A deportee is a Kittian, if it is a Kittian. He's a citizen of the country. If he spent his time in jail and is coming back home, he should be given a fair opportunity, like everybody else, to live in the country and stay in the country and work in the country. I have no problem with deportees. Deportees don't mean bad people to me, because I can go to jail here. I can go to jail here. If I spit in the road here or something, I could go to the jail here, and then they send me back home. Okay, well, I'm supposed to go to jail, and what you gonna do with me? You understand what I'm saying? So I have a problem with deportees. That's not a big issue for me. I'm trying to remember some of the other questions. Something about agriculture, about joining agriculture, and that would be a very good idea. That was also an idea put together, mentioned by the farming associations here, that they can group together and buy tractors. So that you have the tractor, they have it tomorrow, not waiting on the government tractor stuff to come in. That's a great idea. However, I, Rusty Liburd, would like to see you own your own. I'm that kind of guy. I like to own my own stuff. And so if you do that, this week, 3 of us or 4 of us here, we say we want a tractor. So I buy a tractor this week with your input. Next week you buy another tractor with bank input and so on. So we all get our tractors in the end. Like how you play this game, I don't know the game, with money pass around, that kind of stuff. You can do that. Whatever it is, but I'm still believing our government can put money into the pockets of the agriculture people and help them. There's no reason why the guy Samuel cannot literally help the people. I mean, I wanted to go into hydroponic something, the hydro thing with the water, going through hydroponics. I was actually talking to a professor in the College of Further Education, or whatever it's called now, Fitzroy Bryan College. He's from Guyana, and he told me it's gonna be a very expensive stuff and things like that. But I already bought the piping and stuff, but then I had to leave to come here, right? So it all depends on what we really want to get into with agriculture. The government has a large role to play inside here, and government needs to stop figuring out how to help other people and figure out how to help themselves. That's why I'm independent. I hope that's another reason why Bankie is independent. I hope that's another reason why Winston is independent. And I pray and hope more people come. I literally pray and hope that more people come. And let me just add this. If you guys want me back at any time, I'm so happy to be on the show. I'm so comfortable on the show with you guys. I'll be back. Just give me a call. I'll be back. I have no problem. Just know
yes,
I could only be on Tuesday. I could only be on Tuesday nights because of how my classes and stuff going. I could do it on Tuesday. But other than
beautiful.
That, yeah, and I have more to talk about. I want to talk about 3 things: health, sports, and education. I have other stuff to talk about. But yeah, I don't know if I missed any other question that the people wanted to know. But my goal is St. Kitts, and my goal is running as a candidate, because people still asking me, "Oh, Rusty, you running? You running?" A guy calling from Guyana, "Rusty, you running?" I say, "Yeah." Every day I put on my TikTok, my Facebook, my Insta. I got everything now. I don't even know how to use them, but I have everything. I put everything out there. I gotta get my YouTube up and running. So that's basically it. I'm really happy that the people are asking questions. It shows something, Bankie. It tells us that people are listening. They might not be reacting yet, but they are listening to what we're saying. So we have to be really careful with what we're saying. We have to be truly careful. And I can tell you what I like about you. You're an honest, genuine. I don't know you. I saw you first.
Yes, of course.
I hear you talk tonight. I like the way you talk objectively. That's what touched me. when I hear people talk objectively, I am that kind of person. I'm blatant like you, right? And as long as we
Yes.
can keep that kind of attitude. I know you said something about if the people not interested, then it makes no sense for you to run. We had the conversation before, but I would encourage I will encourage you from my end. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. There's a song either Bob Marley or Buju
Of
Banton.
course.
Don't give it up.
I
Right?
got
Don't give
you.
up the fight.
Yes, I appreciate
And
that.
if you need any help and I can afford the help to you, just let me know. Just whatever it is you need, and
I give thanks.
I could figure out you, I will as an independent candidate, and that
Yes,
goes to all independent, right? Because people think because we're independent, we're stupid, we're foolish, we ain't know this and we ain't know that. That has nothing to do with politics. And let me just make this point. And if they think we're stupid and foolish, then we had two candidates from Labour who were more stupid and more foolish than us. You had Dr. Asim Martin, who couldn't tell his ass from his elbow, and you had Cedric Liburd, who could all he did was get a Jeep Cherokee. That's all I see him driving, a Jeep Cherokee. So you get Jeep Cherokee. So I don't worry about those kind of stuff. Them things don't bug me. As long as we focus on what we want to do and we target on it, let us go to the bull point. That's it. So guys, I really appreciate the show, and you're the only people who have asked me to be on the show. All the other talk show people, they just talk about me and say stuff about me. One of them, somebody stole my Facebook image and put it on the show and say I said this and I said that. Okay. And I actually tried to call the guy to explain to the guy, mind, the people that saying that this is me, it's not me. I've never called the show for anything. I watch the show, but I don't call into the show. But he refused to take the call from me, and that don't bother me. I'll get my message out, and when the message come out, people are gonna be flabbergasted by my
Yes,
presentation. I hope Bankie will call you over to say because you come and have a conversation on a platform. I just hope. I'm serious.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely. I think to Rusty, based on the feedback and the comments and the callers, the folks are very, curious. I think the independent aspect, I think a lot of people are catching on and are really, really genuinely curious as to, okay, what difference are you guys coming to make and so on. And so I'm happy also that you are open to coming back because, seemingly, like I said, the response so far has been excellent. We got a chance to respond to many of the questions and queries. Like you said, you have other things that you want to bring on the table. Myself, like Bankie, I've never met you either. I just did a little bit of research on you because I know that we were about to do the show. And so I would look forward to learning more in our next encounter and look forward to having you back on the platform again sometime soon. Thank you very much for taking the invitation and for being here.
There you go. Let me just leave it a tease. The next time you call me back, on this show, I would speak about your premium. And I have information on your premium. You wouldn't know this. But let me just drop this. Vance Amory, before he passed, and I had a conversation about Mark Brantley. You'll hear more.
Quite interesting.
Well, we get back in December. Before the year done, we get back in December.
It's all like this is like one of them soap opera, like when you come close to the end.
I'm telling you.
Know what I mean? You gotta come back to watch the next one. Next edition. All right, so
we came back for the Christmas gift.
It really was a pleasure. And I'm getting some showers of questions right now. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain.
Yeah, man, I can get rain here too, man. Wait here for all in him too.
People, we will be on tomorrow with Jade Medical Clinic on Nevis. We're going to be talking ITAL and something else.
Microbiotics.
Microbiotics, right. So ITAL and microbiotics. So for people who are interested in eating healthy, getting back to nature, healing yourself naturally, that's what the program is all about. We're also going to be offering a course if you wish to be certified in that area. There's a course that we're going to be offering. So you just have to stay in tune with us. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., the 1 hour show. You don't want to miss it right here on Real Entertainment Network. I want to say thanks to the Real Entertainment Network team, Ira, Reese, Alan, Chev, and all the others. Thank you guys very much. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know the kind of work that goes on behind the scenes, but we seek to do our best to bring a platform that seemingly people love and people love to return. And we really appreciate you guys coming and sharing the information. So until tomorrow, we see you, and then Friday we have another edition of Everything Agriculture here on the network. Bankie, yes, you're going to say something?
Yes, for the Everything Agriculture show, we'll have Helen's Data based out of St. Lucia, also based in, have a branch in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and one also based in St. Kitts and Nevis. And then next week, Tuesday, is our guest, the Premier. So remember that, to share the link and put the word out that the Premier will be our guest next week, Tuesday. And then, as I said, tomorrow, we have Jade Wellness. Definitely looking forward. Rusty, thank you for being part of the show. Greatly appreciate the reasoning and for choosing Real Entertainment to you and try to get you back on before for Christmas gift. We were speaking about our Nevis premiere. Looking forward for that. Yes, sir.
Take care.
Yes, man. Guidance, everybody. Love every time. See you guys tomorrow,
Yes.
where we talk about ITAL and probiotics. Enough love, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else choose who was dead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You tried to convince me it was all in my head, and I felt like it's that you was me instead. Hey, I wanted to rock with you, roll with you. Said you was my baby girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna leave a picture. Off with somebody else, off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have